The most awaited phone of the year has finally made landfall. The latest editions of Apple's iPhone have been unveiled, and boy have they got people talking. The announcement for the new smartphones was made at the Steve Jobs Theater in Cupertino, California. Apple CEO Tim Cook took the stage and began by talking about the latest Apple Watch, the Watch Series 3.
Apple Watch.
Introducing Apple Watch Series 3, and it has cellular built in.
Although there isn't too much different in this cosmetically as compared to the previous edition of the watch, a lot of hardware has been redesigned to accommodate newer functions, including but not limited to LTE compatibility. This essentially means that you can take your Apple Watch out with you without needing your iPhone all the time. Moreover, instead of taking up precious real estate on the watch for the antenna, Apple have cleverly integrated it into the screen of the device itself.
Of course, the biggest challenge of all was adding cellular. You see, our little watch is already packed, and you have to add antennas, radios, power amplifiers, a SIM card, and if you don't do it right, it gets so big it looks like a house arrest bracelet, and you're not going to want to wear it. So our engineers have been hard at work, and they've come up with some really creative solutions. For example, rather than add an antenna, the display itself is the multi-frequency antenna for both LTE and UMTS. And of course you have to have a SIM card, but even a nano SIM would be way too big. So instead, we integrated an electronic SIM, and it's a fraction of the size.
Apple spent a lot of time at the keynote address talking about their latest state-of-the-art buildings that are made from mostly glass. We can only imagine this was in order to build even more anticipation for the new iPhone launches.
Now, let me tell you a little bit about our new home. We'll start moving in Apple Park later this year. But of course, such a large move, it's really more of a process. And the first big step is the opening today of the Steve Jobs Theater. It's the most state-of-the-art, purpose-built theater ever, built for events just like this one. Apple Park has been built to reflect Apple's values for both technology and the environment. It connects extraordinarily advanced buildings with a rolling parkland to form an open and inspiring environment for our teams to create and collaborate.
There was also the launch of the new Apple TV, which will now support 4K HDR playback. This is a huge step for the company, especially since it's been rumored for quite some time that they're developing technology for their very own television. But after a few previews of what's expected from Apple in the coming few months, they finally got around to the latest iPhones. First up, there was the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 8 Plus, confirming rumors that the S cycle would be dropped, a tradition that Apple has kept alive since the iPhone 3GS. Both phones come with a glass front and back, but apart from that, the difference between the previous generation and this new one is quite limited. Of course, there are hardware upgrades, including those in the optics department, but on the face of it, there's very little that's different. However, since there's a glass back on these new iPhones, it means they can finally support wireless charging.
We do this every day. We use our phones in the day and we charge them at night, often on a charger by our bedstand in our homes or in our hotels. And words can't describe just how much nicer it is to just put it down and pick it up whenever you want to charge without ever having to plug in a cable again.
Apple has teamed up with Qi wireless charging technology to make sure that the new iPhones don't need to have proprietary, Apple-specific chargers to fuel the phones wirelessly. The two phones will be available in 64GB and 256GB variants, and along with the black and silver variants, there's a new color too. Up until then, everything was going like clockwork. It seemed like Apple had yet again made a few cosmetic changes and mostly internal ones and rebranded the new smartphone lineup. However, when everyone thought it was over, Tim Cook took the stage and uttered 3 words.
But we're not stopping there. We do have one more thing.
This was the moment the iPhone X was announced. The very moment everyone had been waiting for with bated breath. The moment that all the renders and leaks and rumors had been speculating of for months. The iPhone X comes with a glass front and back too, and its sides are stainless steel. There's a bezel-less display, and as many rumors correctly predicted, there's no Touch ID or home button on this new iPhone. If you're wondering how this one will unlock, all this one needs to grant you access is to look at your face. Yes, this one comes with Face ID, which is essentially Apple's advanced facial recognition software, a first for the company. Apple has claimed that it's safe enough and that only 1 in a million people will be able to unlock your phone using Face ID. Moreover, there's a dual camera on the back, though this one is in a vertical setup as opposed to the iPhone 8 Plus's horizontal one. Another first is the OLED True Tone display, and it'll be loaded with augmented reality technology that's really complemented with their new animated emoji called Animoji. This will allow you to give motion to your favorite emoji and personalize them with voice too. The new 64GB iPhone 8 is priced at 64,000 rupees, and the 8 Plus is a steeper 73,000 rupees for the 64GB variant, and the iPhone X is the priciest of the lot at 89,000 rupees for the 64GB model. The 256GB models for these phones will be priced at 77,000 rupees for the iPhone 8, 86,000 rupees for the 8 Plus, and a whopping 1,02,000 rupees for the iPhone X. We can't wait to get these phones in our hands and tell you what we really think of them and how they stack up to competitors.